The question we were both sort of asking earlier before we went on air was, why Xolobeni? Why is your focus there, and what's been actually happening there?
Yes, so of course there's many things happening all over the country that we do actually watch, but Xolobeni has always been on our radar. It's something colleagues of mine have actually been there very recently as well, visited the community there, and Nontle Mutuma, who is the leader there, is a community leader there, exactly. She has actually been selected as one of Amnesty International's global human rights defenders because she is defending the human rights of the people there. So we do have direct contact with her, and we speak to her often about what's happening there. We also feel that what's happening there could actually have repercussions for communities throughout the country as well. So as much as it looks like we're focusing on one community, we are actually keeping in mind that it can, translate into other communities all over South Africa as well.
What's at stake in Xolobeni is the whole issue of ancestral lands,
yes,
which are purportedly proposed for titanium mining.
Yes, yeah.
And Nontle Mutuma has put together the villages in the community to say we have not been consulted in this, and that is really what the protest was about the other day when this violence happened, that you are now calling for an investigation. Exactly.
We feel that the violence was excessive. We feel that the community members had a right to be there, and they were actually from the beginning of the meeting, they were made to feel very uncomfortable. There was no space for them inside the marquee, for example. The police formed a cordon, and they were peacefully there. It's their right to participate in public affairs, it's their right to peacefully protest, and it's their right to be heard when it's about the land where they live.
Are you concerned, sorry, are you concerned that you want a proper investigation because of the killing that happened in 2016? Whose investigation still has not been done, and nobody has been arrested for the murder of Sikosipi Khadebe?
Yes, so absolutely no one has been brought to justice for his murder. He was killed on the 22nd of March 2016, so we're at 2.5 years now. Amnesty International actually has been calling for justice for him since then, and we're very shocked that nothing has been done. And also the reports that we received was, for example, that Nontle was also targeted on Sunday. She was tear gassed in the face. She's still receiving medical treatment for the tear gas that really, damaged her. She was also verbally threatened, and she's been threatened before, and she actually has another organization called Frontline Defenders. They provide safety and security for her as well, because those threats are so ongoing, and it's not just her, it's obviously it affects the whole community. So the fact that there's been no justice for him, that is a huge worry for us, and we feel that in the 2.5 years since his killing, but in the 10 years that they've been fighting this for them, or more than 10 years, there's been nothing done for the community.
Mienke, what does Amnesty International actually think is going on here? I mean, this story involves an Australian mining company. We know that the process has been put on hold. That's the company that actually wants to mine the titanium, and then we have the issue of the land rights coming in there with that community that lives there. But also the question being asked, why isn't our own government fighting for or protecting their own people when it comes to this issue?
As far as we understand, the government's argument is that it will improve the socioeconomic circumstances of the people in that community, and but we haven't seen proof of that. We also, some government spokespeople I've heard say that people who are living there are destitute. My colleagues have visited the community really quite recently as well. It's quite a trip to get out there, and these people are not living destitute lives. They're living sustainable lives. They're farming vegetables, and they want to continue the lives that they live. And so the arguments that are given are not strong arguments as far as we're concerned. And also for us, it's also about the right to be heard. So if people are given the right to be heard, and those views are actually weighed up, and a decision is then made, that's good governance. But what we're seeing is not good governance. What we're seeing is, let's call a spade, a money issue going on. And so Amnesty International works on human rights in business and human rights as well, and we like to engage with businesses and governments to talk about how can business still happen, how can governance still happen, but how can human rights still be protected.